Hi guys, I often say don't listen to the politicians, listen to the experts. And Zoe Gardner, as we know, is an expert on immigration and asylum. Now, she was invited onto the Nick Ferrari show to discuss the one in, one out policy that the new Labour government have put forward. And, well, she had some problems with it because, well, it doesn't work in practice. Have a listen to this.
Unfortunately, the problem with a one in, one out deal is that it stops working as soon as it works.
What do you mean by that? Don't give me a headache at 13 minutes after 7. What do you mean, Zoe?
If your safe route to the UK depends on another person risking their life in the Channel, and the intention with that is that because some people are returned from risking their lives in the Channel, that becomes unattractive and people instead try to go on the safe route, well, then the safe route dries up pretty quickly,
right?
Because there's nobody crossing the Channel anymore, in theory at least. I mean, I don't think that will actually happen with this deal, but the theory of it just doesn't hold together because you immediately make the safe route non-viable when you've successfully stopped people crossing the Channel. And so what will they do? Well, I'm afraid they might go back to irregular ways of trying to reach the UK.
And she's completely correct. So if you think about it, the one in, one out scheme works like this. So somebody who has crossed the Channel illegally will be deported back to France or sent back to France. And their slot will be handed to somebody who's currently in France, who wants to get to the UK because they have a family connection or something like that. But as Zoe points out, if that number of people crossing the Channel illegally drops to 0, it's unlikely to happen, but let's say for the sake of argument it does, then there'll be nobody coming back. So there'll be nobody coming back to allow the people who can enter legally to enter legally. So it's nonsensical. Now, of course, it's not going to work because of that, but also it's not going to work because we're talking about very small numbers of people. It's been presented as a deterrent in the same way as Rwanda was presented as a deterrent. Now, I don't know if people currently sitting in France, in Calais, for example, know about it. So if they don't know about it, then it's not really a deterrent, is it? And it's not going to work as a deterrent because a small number of people will be sent back. And this isn't a criticism of it. This is the reality. So a small number of people are going to be sent back. So if you're determined to get to the UK and you're sitting in France at the moment and you have traveled across the Mediterranean, you traveled through Europe, maybe in the back of a truck or something like this, a pretty uncomfortable trip, are you going to say, well, I'm not going to make the last 30 miles because, well, Keir Starmer has signed a deal with the French? No, you're going to try and make that final journey. It's not going to be a deterrent. Even if they increased it to 1,000 people, it probably still wouldn't work as a deterrent. So the government need to come up with a new plan. And Zoe and others have pointed out, well, a better solution would be to create a safe route. This would reduce the number of people crossing the Channel. It would see the business model of the people smugglers pretty much dry up overnight because there would be no incentive for people to pay them thousands of euros to cross the Channel. It would be a win-win for the politicians as well because you would see the numbers drop and you would be able to say, look, we have resolved this problem. You'd be able to sell that to the British public, but you'd also be able to thwart the problem of Nigel Farage. But instead they're doing some sort of halfway house. They're trying to pander to Farage and Reform UK's voters by appearing tough on immigration. But at the same time, they're trying to appeal to people more moderate who would say, look, we should do something proper to deal with crossings in the Channel where people are losing their lives. Instead of actually coming up with a workable solution or even attempting to come up with a workable solution, there's this halfway house, which is obviously going to fail, as Zoe has pointed out here. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.